She says I'm the realest out, and I say, damn, that makes two of us. What's up, my dudes? We got the DLC, Motocross DLC for MX versus ATV, all out. So we got, this is actually 4 motocross tracks, 2 freeride tracks. Pretty sure the 4 motocross tracks are integrated into the 2 freeride tracks, right? So it's not like 4 motocross tracks and then 2 completely separate freeride tracks as far as like, because I think I'm going to run into some motocross tracks right here. So I've never actually rode on these before, so I don't exactly know what I'm doing, but I'm going to go in there and totally check out this DLC all the way around so we can take a look at it. But apparently there's different times of day on the tracks, just like with the Ricky Carmichael compound track, and you can't go in there and manually change it, so it's just going to be totally random. You know, you see how I'm kind of in this almost like sunset hazy vibe action going on? Well, you may hop on there and it be, you know, morning time or midday sunshine or nighttime. I have no idea. I think that's kind of what it can possibly be, but yeah, so I just wanted to run around one of these little freeride tracks real quick. Then we'll actually go to the Nationals and check that out. But this entire DLC is $5 total, $4.99. So, you know, you kind of think about that. 4 motocross tracks, 2 freeride tracks. That's like 69 cents a track, if you know what I'm saying, Doug. So, it's an alright deal, I'd probably say, just in like general thought process of it. But I feel like even from some of the like early on kind of screenshots of the tracks and stuff like that, and you know how some people were saying it's going to be like AMA track replica type design stuff. You know, they're like acting like it was going to be like AMA national replica stuff. I think it's like based upon it. I don't think it's like theoretically necessarily technically exactly like, you know, replication of whatever. I think it's just kind of based off of it. So I don't know if they were trying to kind of skirt some of the you know, licensing shit on it and then still be able to give you somewhat of a real national track design to it or whatever. So either way, yeah, it's kind of got that sand dune type of feeling over there on the one side. Now I could be totally wrong about that. There could be like 4 motocross tracks, and then these freeride tracks have their own motocross tracks on it, but I don't think that's how it is. I'll go look at it all here in a second in the menus, and I'll be able to tell you. But yeah, so this is kind of similar to your, you know, the sand dune style stuff that's already in the game on that one freeride track. You guys know the one I'm talking about. It's kind of got, you know, similar sort of feel to that. So yeah, it's cool to see kind of, you know, some of the motocross tracks integrated into the freeride tracks, give you a little bit more of that action that you can do on some of these bigger sand dune jumps. Of course, I flip over. Oh God. Okay. Yeah. So let's see. I'm gonna see if I can just kind of run around this track a little bit more. I don't want to spend too much time on each one of them. Kind of gave you a full-blown look at everything. Okay. No hander lander. Oh boys, we're getting wild. We're getting gnarly. Oh, dude, so realistic. So realistic, dog. Did like a damn Jesus, like flipped all the way around without ever even my feet ever coming off the seat. Like, good God, bro. That was gnarly. But, oh, like, look at the trick. Yo, dog, this is the Jesus Stan Spencer Turley never come off the bike trick right here. You guys can't hang. This is some legendary status level. Get on my level, bro. Like, you can't do this and you know it. So, yeah, all right. So that's enough jacking around. Doesn't seem like too big of a little freeride compound thing here. I mean, the edge is right out here. Like, I can see it. I thought yeah, the edge is right there. So you can't really, I mean, it's like that sand dunes deal over there. Pretty, like, medium, small-ish size sand dune place. And then it's this motocross compound right here. So let's go ahead and go to that. Let's go ahead and go to the motocross tracks themselves, which I figure once you go to that, then you're going to actually have, you know, the banners on the side of the track, the tough blocks on the side, all that. So it's going to look a little bit more official when you actually get on the motocross tracks themselves, on the race versions versus the, you know, just being on the free ride. Yeah, it's the same tracks as what's on the free ride compound. The 2 free ride compounds, they're just 2 of them separated on each one of them. So really what you're getting here is 4 different motocross tracks, 2 of them on the same sort of biome, a piece, right? So it's only really 2 different biomes here. And they have 2 free ride compounds for each one of them, but the free ride compounds just have just a little bit of extra free ride, like, a little dune over here on the side or whatever comes with this Crescent Lake one. We'll just start her from the top here. We'll run like, I don't know, 5 laps. Put these puppies on beginner so I can just get away from them. Yo, Rainbow Studios, why is there not an option for me to go in here and put this on no opponents, no AI? Like, really? I have to run this with AI? Like, come on now. Give me that option, please, for the love of God. Like, on Reflex, you can go in there and run a race with no one on it. I'm pretty sure you can have no one on a race on Reflex. Damn, I could be thinking about that wrong, but I think you can. Surely, you can do that in Reflex. I'm like about 99.5% sure that you can race on any track with no AI on Reflex, but they kind of got into like Alive and some of those other games where you have to have AI on it, which I think is kind of weird, but either way, we'll get in here and check out these motocross tracks. So you can see it's kind of got that bit more of that FMF, more official kind of vibe to it. And what I was thinking these tracks were going to be more like is more of your newer, advanced national track system. So not so much like the nationals that first came with the game that were absolute trash, and you guys know what I'm talking about. I was thinking these were going to be a bit more like, oh God, you got to time that out. That's cool. These are going to be a bit more like what you expect from MX versus ATV. Not so much that like every track feeling the exact same flat tracking vibe that the first tracks had in this game. So yeah, looking pretty good right here, man. Nice rollers coming up the hill here. But yeah, just it's that you can see, I don't know if you can see this on YouTube very good, but it's got that just kind of naturally constantly changing of terrain. Even in the corners, even though it's not like massive ruts, it's got just enough on it to where it doesn't feel glass flat. The corners don't feel glass flat and unrealistic and weird. They actually feel like a motocross corner that just hasn't been super rutted up yet. You see what I'm saying? And that's, oh God, landed on the side of the track there, dude. But, yeah, this feels more like, kind of more reminiscent to the Goat Farm style and more like that. This is getting a little bit more bigger, more like Reflex style motocross. Not exact, but, certainly closer to that than the stock tracks in this game. You know how they kind of came out with that Slash Supercross DLC, and those tracks were more bigger scale, more like Reflex style? Well, this is kind of like what I feel like it's the motocross, the motocross side of, like, that Slash DLC style improvement to the game and track design to the game, right? So you know how the Slash DLC was different from the normal Supercross tracks in the game? Well, I feel like this is like the motocross tracks, but they're different than the standard motocross tracks in the game. So just because this is motocross DLC doesn't mean these tracks are feeling like the tracks that are the stock tracks in the game. So I don't want some people to get confused by that and be like, oh, why would I want, 4 more motocross tracks and All Out that feel like the base stock tracks in the game? That would be kind of stupid because they feel terrible, but it's not like that. These feel a lot better than that, and they've kind of got like some of those bit of a pre-made ruts in some of the corners. You can see it on some of them, and I think the reason why they're doing that is so that their terrain deformation can kind of rut down in it a little bit better, which is totally different than the way it is on MX Simulator. I always say don't build your tracks around a road on MX Simulator, but it's totally different because with MX Simulator, the dirt is not really movable and pushable, whereas on this and Reflex, it is a little bit more movable and pushable and have that softer feeling to it, whereas MX Sim, your dirt is like hardcore. Even though you can make it feel softer, it's hardcore as hell, bro. Like, as far as, it's solid. There is no, you don't really have that, like, feeling like you're in the cush, you know what I'm saying, dog? 420 blaze it. But yeah, this is a fun little track right here, dude. You got some nice little trip skis. Oh, baby. Hell yeah, dog. Whoever thought to put that little side hook trip ski into the rollers, you got it going on, bro. That's more like what Reflex had going on all of its motocross tracks. Had those cool little lines like that where you had to be a little bit crafty, but you could still pop up over and jump up over something. And what would make that even better is if you didn't even have a seat bounce button in your game and you just had to get the speed out of the corner. You still had a hook system where you could lean forward, lean back, but it wasn't an actual seat bounce button. You know what I'm saying? And if you would have had all that in there like that, this would feel even more so like that cool, good reflex feeling. But overall, I'm liking the design of this. Kind of like what I thought it was going to be before it came out. You know, kind of like that Ricky Carmichael National style with the pre-made, more so changeable terrain on the dirt, but just a little bit more like your standard national AMA national replica style track to it or whatever. So either way, I don't want this video to be 5 hours long. I'll go to the next track here. We'll check it out. But yeah, I mean, this is certainly impressive. Just wish this style could have been sort of somewhat integrated in there from the beginning. Same way with the Slash Supercross tracks. Like, it's okay, the Supercross tracks they had in there, more the replica, like more so, somewhat more one-to-one scale, more like real-life replica style. They were okay in the game. I mean, I didn't really have all that big of an issue with the stock Supercross tracks in the game. I just had more of an issue with the stock national tracks in there. But it would have just made the game feel more whole and more, you know, reflex, where it's like, oh, don't run into that. Okay, yeah. Oh, this has got more bigger. You can kind of see just the bigger, like 2 or 3 berm style in the corner versus the like 4 or 5 small pre-made ruts. Got quite the different design going on here in the corners. That's really cool to actually see that little bit of difference of you know, corner design and stuff as far as like just the base default terrain before you start roading on it. I like these big old jumps, boy. That was nice. I know on some of the default national tracks, some of the jumps are just kind of lackluster. But as far as like, you know, with the Slash Supercross pack, it being a little bit more reflex style, like bigger jump Supercross style to it, I think that would have been cool to have integrated some of that in there, where you didn't just have every single one of your Supercross tracks be that one-to-one scale replica. Like, I think it's cool to have that combination of real-life one-to-one scale replica tracks and then a little more into the fantasy, big scale 300-foot free ride desert dune jump, you know, that you can do a 360 no-scope backflip. Like, that's the kind of stuff I think is cool in motocross games, that variation, right? Some people think I hate, like, replica design, one-to-one scale tracks or whatever, but I don't. I love them. I love them for what they are. I love them for, even though they may not be super skill gapped or super fun factor because you're not really jumping all that high or whatever, I think they're fun and they're nice to have in a motocross game. But I also like to see that variation of having some tracks that have a little bit more fantasy, a little bit more bigger scale style, and so I love to see that they're, you know, recognizing that with this DLC right here. And with the Slash DLC, they're like, oh, okay, we can actually put, you know, 150-foot tabletop jumps on our motocross tracks. And especially with an arcade game, it just makes them a little bit more fun when you get a little bit more on that bigger scale fantasy feel on some of the tracks, because it's different with a simulator, because, you know, obviously it's going to be a lot harder just in general with that, and having to ride on a one-to-one scale track. Even though the jumps aren't very big, they still feel big on a simulator, you know, because it's so hard to even get good at a simulator, period. But with an arcade motocross game, if you're doing like one-to-one scale style tracks, they just aren't as fun because it's not as hard of a game. So jumping a, you know, standard-ass, like literally 60-foot triple Supercross jump in an arcade motocross game really isn't all that much fun, bro. And like, you know, small little rhythm, standard ass rhythm sections on Supercross track, one-to-one scale in an arcade motocross game just really isn't all that fun. You know, it's more fun to hit big ass rhythms, something that's like actually hard to hit. And that's what I feel like Reflex captured so perfectly. You know, they had some of their Supercross tracks where it had that bigger fun scale, then they had some smaller, tighter, more closer to one-to-one scale Supercross tracks. I know I'm talking a million miles an hour here, but some of you guys that are following me and you know motocross game and shit, you know what I'm saying. But some of you guys, I'm like probably way over your head at this point, but because I've been like nonstop talking. Yeah, this nice little track kind of got a sandy vibe to it. Got some of the more sandy roller. You know, it's not making like 5 little separated small ruts, more like Red Bud style. It's not so much like that. This is a little bit more south Wiki Millville style, something a little bit more like that. So that's interesting. It's cool to see the little kind of the difference in the balance of just track compound styles there. This seems to be more sandy vibed, whereas the Crescent Lakes to me seems to be more like, at least the tracks that I was on there seem to be more of a more like standard Red Buddy style dirt and stuff to it. We'll go to some of the other tracks here. Let's check those out real quick. So, yeah, man, don't forget, you guys can go follow me up on Snapchat, add me on Snapchat, Instagram, Steam. I'll add you on there and get you in the Discord. I'll get you in all of everything I have. Twitter, Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, the whole 9 yards of it all is just Spencer Turley, no space, no capital. So you can just look at my YouTube channel name and spell that out without the capital S and the T and the space between Spencer and Turley, and that's my name on all my stuff. That's kind of like my account name on everything, right? Because a lot of times account names, you can't have spaces and capital letters, so I just wanted to make it simple, make everything the same. Spencer Turley, no space, no capital. So yeah, dudes, definitely go add me up on that. I'll get you in some MX Simulator lobby races and stuff like that, fun stuff. Maybe even some of these cool, maybe when I go back and play some Reflex on Steam or something, try to get you guys in there. So either way, this is the second. Oh, I love how I'm like number 125 right by the Daniel Blair dude. Oh, God, that was kind of funny. But at least you're not restricted where you can't have a number that one of the pros has, like damn Monster Energy Supercross game. So either way, this is the second Crescent Lakes motocross track, similar to the first one, obviously, as you would assume. But you can kind of see more standard woodlandy in the off-track, more like the on-track and the off-tracks. Oh, baby, good God almighty. That is a huck and a half, my bros. So the off-track, more standardy, woodlandy, more like, kind of like, somewhat similar to some of the stock track, off-track, one of those free ride tracks. Nice little lake over there. Got some canoeing going fast hand on the off-track. But, let's see. But yeah, just the overall jump feel, just so much more like what I want, what I expect out of a MX versus ATV game. So much more fun factor going on here. There's something so boring about a motocross track when there's literally no jump on it that gets bigger than like 60 foot. There's just something about, in an arcade game anyways, right? There's something about that kind of loses its, you get bored of it pretty quick. Oh, God, yeah. There's another one of those sections I can already see where I can kind of do like a angled, bigger huck jump. Nice little lake out there. I'm itching my nose, all right. But yeah, certainly got some bigger huck to the side. More like, transfer-y style where you can jump way into the rollers like you could do on some of the Reflex tracks, stock tracks in that game, which was a lot of fun back in the day. But yeah, Reflex just had that weird ability where you had like a standard line on every motocross track and supercross track where it was like, everybody would be just about hitting that, right? And then it's like just about every single track in Reflex had that one or two monster Big Daddy Huck line where you'd pert near have to be just about pro level to even get that kind of speed and traction out of the corner or hit that perfect little roller jump, hump, bump, whatever it took before it to will tap up over this, to huck up over that properly, right? You actually had to have like a true skill in Reflex to be able to hit some of those bigger jumps, and it gave you such a rewarding feeling when you got to that point, because then you could actually separate yourself from other people on the track jump wise, not just in corner speed and all that, but you could do it there as well. But it's just hard to explain it, man. But it's like some of these newer motocross games just totally fail. I mean, totally fail when it comes to that sort of aspect of it, like actually having bigger jump rhythm, skill gap, fun, interesting transfer jump, 5 jumps into rollers or something cool like that, and actually making it difficult enough to where it's like only the pros can hit it in the game, the pro level speed dudes can hit it in the game, but it's not like so easy that everybody and their grandmother can hit it, right? It's kind of that like kind of balance, and it's hard to do that when you don't even have a physics system that has that sort of skill gap, because everybody's just going to be able to hit that jump anyways, because there's no actual having to like lean properly out of corners on a lot of the newer motocross games to be able to hit jumps, and no proper huck system. They're missing so many of those skill gappy style elements to them that Reflex captured perfectly. And I know some people say, yo, Spencer, can you make one of these motocross games videos without mentioning Reflex or MX Simulator? No, motherfucker, I can't, because Reflex and MX Simulator are the best motocross games, and that's what I'm going to compare them to. You dumbasses, like, what the hell you think? I'm just not going to mention what a good motocross game is? Hell yeah, I'm going to fucking mention it, because that's how you base everything off of everything. What, you just want terrible motocross games that aren't like the good old days? Aren't like the amazing motocross days of Reflex and how good MX Simulator is? Like, you don't want me to mention a good motocross game? That's stupid. That'd be like saying, don't compare this new basketball player to the greats. Don't compare the moves they used to do. And like, it's stupid. Everybody does that. You compare it to the greatest of whatever it is in that certain thing, and that's how you make things better. You know, like, yeah, I'm going to mention it, bro. I'm going to continue to mention Reflex in damn near every single milestone motocross video I make, or MX versus ATV game video I make of these modern day motocross games. Yes, I'm going to mention Reflex. Why the hell would I not do that? Like, some of you guys you're so confused. Like, you just don't understand. You don't get it, dude. Like, those games had just such a next level feel. Reflex did. I just don't know any other way to explain it to you, man. You're so next level on the bike and skill gap and everything to it. But when it comes to MX Simulator, the only reason I mention that whenever I'm talking about any kind of arcade motocross game is just simply to explain the full scope of what motocross physics can possibly be. I'm not saying that arcade motocross games need to have the physics of MX Simulator, because then they'll be a damn simulator, right? That's not why I mention MX Simulator. The reason why I mention MX Simulator is because a lot of its physics systems are somewhat similar to kind of how Reflex's movement system is. When you get really, really good and you get that loose style setup on MX Sim, you get kind of that Reflexy style movement. Obviously, a lot more, got to have control over it in MX Sim, and throttle control and lean control and all that crap, but it just explains the full scope of motocross gaming physics as a whole. Don't get it twisted into me thinking I'm trying to turn an arcade motocross game into a simulator, because I'm never trying to do that. Like, I totally understand they're two completely separate things, and there's some people that do not want a motocross simulator for whatever reason. They're just not into it like that or whatever, and I get it. And some people, they love a simulator or whatever. But it's just like, Reflex was an arcade motocross game, man. It ain't like some crazy simulator level, whatever. Okay, let's get on that very last track. I'll quit my rambling, but, people got to find a way to dislike something that I'm saying or doing on every video, and that's just the way it is. That's just that nature of YouTube, man. YouTube's kind of harsh in that sense. It really is. So I did the first bighorn. We'll go on the second bighorn. That track was nice, just like the first one. You kind of see me fill in some of those bigger, like, jump 4 or 5 roller and a couple different section lines on that track towards the end there, right? You can kind of start mobbing it out and doing, like, some turn-up whips over some crazy big jumps like that. So pretty cool when you can get to that level. But, yeah, man, overall pretty impressed with these tracks. Definitely, I don't really know anything negative to say about them. This is about as close as you guys are going to get to your AMA replica, like MX versus ATV national replica tracks in the game. You know how they kind of went down the replica road with the supercross tracks, but not with the motocross tracks. Well, this is kind of like them giving you a little taste of that. Obviously, it's not like a full-blown series of that or anything, but it's certainly, giving you a little something in that kind of category and feel to it. So either way, man, these the bighorn is a little bit more of the kind of deserty, dry environment, a little bit more dry, sandy type of feel on the track is what it. Oh, dude, that's sick. Oh, hell yes. Fuck yes. Good God, yes. Wow, I've not hit a jump like that ever in All Out. Dude, That's where it's at, Rainbow Studios. Yes, like, why wasn't that in the game when the game first came out? Oh my god, look at this elevation. This is so badass that the camera view can't even handle it because the game wasn't even made for that kind of elevation. Oh my god, it's like when I hit that humongous face jump a while ago, literally the camera like was stuck down to where I couldn't even see the jump face anymore, and it was awesome. Oh my god, dude. Yes, this is the track of the DLC pack right here, dude. I can already tell you. Man, yes, like, yo, you saw that elevation over there. That's a little bit more like in that big-ass jump over there. That's more like your reflex track style designs. This is what I've been saying. This is what I've been preaching, boys. Like, it ain't that hard. Come on. I mean, MX vs. ATV, if you need to hire me, if you need to get me over there, help your ass out, hell, if you just want to hire me to have, you know, just have some conference calls on fucking FaceTime or something, and I'll give you some badass ideas, you'll make a lot of money off my ass. I'm going to need a cut off that, you know what I'm saying? But I'll give you some great ideas. I've been giving you great ideas from day one. This motherfucker for free, okay? But I'll really give you the sauce if you want to, you know, get in there and get me hired up, I'll get it going. But yeah, dog, like, this is what people want right here. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like, this is look at this. Like, oh my god, I can't even explain how fun that feels to hit something that massive. Very similar to the, you know, the big-ass jumps on the stock reflex track that was the, like, I can't remember, it wasn't the first, it was that first reflex stock track, you know, that standard woodland, almost like Mammoth style. Can't even remember the damn name of it, but, god dang, it's right on the tip of my tongue. I know all the reflex tracks, I can't figure it out. You know which one I'm talking about, though. One of the biggest jumps, standard woodland, Mammoth style tracks on reflex, where you come down that humongous hill, and you jump like way down a hill, and you can tell you're hitting a jump like you never hit on any other track in that game, right? This kind of has that cool feeling to it, and some of you hardcore reflex dudes will know exactly what I'm talking about. Let me get it back in this camera mode right here. We'll see what it feels like hitting some of those bigger jumps. This is kind of like the old school MX vs. ATV fucking Unleashed Untamed camera action right here. So we'll see what we can get going on that. But throwing some whip skis, landing sideways. But yeah, these tracks will be a lot of fun when you know, really get down in the terrain deformation side of it and all that. But yes, I'm impressed. I like this. I like this actual elevation. This is elevation change right here, right? What you had in your stock tracks in this game was not elevation change. That was pish posh. That was kind of, it was wannabe like an actual motocross track layout design, but it really wasn't, you know? It just wasn't like that. So whoever you got designing your tracks now, and hell, it may be the same dudes and they've just learned something. I don't know. But keep those dudes on board for your next game. You know what I'm saying? Keep those dudes rocking, because this is more down the alley of what I would have expected out of the game at the beginning. So now you can actually see the jump face when you're coming off of it. Oh my god, dude, that is insane. And then of course the physics of the bike just kind of goes crazy, right? With the crazy loose physics of the game. But yes, dog, that is where it's at. All right, let's do some little bit of first person on it. So have they actually made first-person camera improvements to this game? Because it seems like they have. And since the last time I've really gotten in first-person on it, it seems like it's a lot smoother. Nowhere near as much of that like janky kind of feeling like you're gonna, you know, have a seizure and throw up in your mouth. Like seems a lot better. Man, I'm gonna have to make a separate video on this or something. I don't know when they actually fix this right here, but this feels way freaking better. This feels kind of like the you know, the first-person mod they put in for Reflex on PC. This is kind of what this, like, looks like. Very reminiscent to that. Wow, dude, that's interesting. I don't know if it's because of the physics that they've changed that made the first-person feel so different, you know, less bumpiness through the corners, or if they've actually fixed the first-person. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but either way, boys, that's about it for this video. Just going in here checking all the DLC for the motocross tracks out. So would I say it's worth the $5? I mean, in all of my hearts of hearts, this really should have been the way the motocross track designs were from the get-go in the game, but it is what it is. You know, it could be a lot more money for this, and it could be a lot more tracks for this amount of money. It's just all in whatever kind of way you want to look at it. But I mean, if you really like All Out, yeah, I certainly think it's worth it. If you're, you know, more into the MX versus ATV games than you are the Milestone games, I certainly say it's probably worth it. But if you're not really that into the MX versus ATV games, or you're more, you know, kind of leaning away from All Out, I mean, this will certainly give you a whole new experience as far as track design than any of the other motocross tracks in the game. And obviously, Goat Farm's a little more similar to this, but it's kind of like you're getting 4 more Goat Farm style terrains, but just different kind of jumps, and, you know, obviously variations in elevation and that whole 9 yards. So either way, it's decent, definitely pretty good, I'd say. I'm happy they're realizing some things like that. And damn, Axel, how'd you going slow on that beginner mode, bro? But either way, dudes, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later.